Yeah, let's do a show today. How are you? My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's wonderful, ladies and gentlemen, to have you along for the ride. Thanks so much for joining us. Little upset today. Gotta admit, little upset today. The Cowboys won against the Giants, so that kind of sucks. The Dodgers won, despite the Padres being up 2-0 in the seventh inning. Thanks, Will Smith, cranking a homer. And the Eagles face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday. That's going to happen. First off, I hope all the residents of Florida can stay as safe as possible, especially in the Tallahassee area. That's first and foremost. Well before any football game, obviously. But talk a little bit about the weather that's going to go on in Tampa. Looks like rain in the morning, and then a 40% chance throughout the day of rain. So if that's going to happen that way, then we can look for I think we said it yesterday in the chat. I forget who it was. They used the term ground and pound. I certainly hope that's the case. There is one thing, not that you ever celebrate injury, but there is one thing about this game in particular that makes me feel a lot better about Jalen Hurts and his passing game, escaping the blitz, picking up the blitz, staying safe, staying healthy, and getting out of that game with flying colors. That's what I'll look at when it comes to Jalen Hurts and that vaunted Todd Bowles pass rush. That, as Kellen Moore told us earlier in the week, oh my goodness gracious, all the things that do to turn your head, all the things that could do to unfortunately confuse the hell out of your quarterback, your receivers, and as we all know, the Eagles are banged up in that regard, the wide receiver position. Welcome into the show. My name is Mark Farzetta. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel as well, where yours truly, Seth Joyner and Derek Gunn, break it down for you pre and post every single Eagles game day from Parks Casino. Let's get into it. I'm going to start with Jalen Hurts because starting with the quarterback always sounds like a good idea. And I feel like it really comes down to Jalen Hurts in this particular game. Look, odds are you're not having either one of your number one A targets on this offense. No Devontae Smith, no A.J. Brown. I would love to say A.J. Brown is going to play in this game. It does not look like A.J. Brown is going to play in this game thanks to that bad hamstring. We'll find out later today what's what. But this is going to be a huge game for Jalen Hurts. We've talked a lot about the no excuses this season for Jalen Hurts, and he's so far he's gone in the first 3 games of this season, and he's still turned the football over at an alarming rate. Turnover machine obviously comes to mind, whether it's a fumble, whether it's an interception, whether it's a bad read, leading that interception, whatever the kid, even if it's a wide receiver not fully running the route, as people are, of course, saying about Devontae Smith there in New Orleans against the Saints. To hell with all the excuses on that. To hell with all the turnovers to this point. Last year into this year, it can't happen in this game. I know you're throwing to Johnny Wilson and Paris Campbell. I know that's going to be the guys, Jahan Dotson. Those are going to be the guys that you're targeting at the wide receiver position of the game. If I tell any Eagles fan that's what you got going into the game, not a lot of people are going to feel great about the Eagles winning that game. This is where Jalen Hurts has to look like an MVP. This is where Jalen Hurts in all honesty, I'll go for a guy that looks MVP caliber as opposed to the MVP. I'll take it down a notch when it comes to that because there is another guy I feel on this offense that has to be the MVP of this particular game. Jalen Hurts has to play smart, heads-up football. He has to be able to escape the blitz. He has to be able to utilize the wide receivers at his disposal. He has to keep Dallas Goedert involved, obviously. And I think one of the things that's really going to help this whole situation, especially if it is rainy and the weather conditions are poor and it's going to lend itself to that ground and pound game, the number one person I'm going to be looking at right after Jalen Hurts is Saquon Barkley. We know that the offensive line is also banged up. Lane Johnson, of course, dealing with a concussion. Mekhi Becton looks like he is going to play, but he's going to be down a finger playing in this game. When you look at it from afar, there's no reason Saquon Barkley shouldn't be able to go off in this game. There's no reason Saquon Barkley shouldn't be able to have his way with this Buccaneers defense, especially if they're keying on trying to stop the pass or trying to get pressure and sending blitzes to Jalen Hurts. This will be a great opportunity for maybe 2 times in this game. Saquon Barkley runs right past the blitz, right past an aggressive Todd Bowles. If he's able to do that, especially in the early goings of the game, that will open up things tremendously for Jalen Hurts. That will open up things in the play action game phenomenally well, to the point where maybe you don't have to have a 25, 30, 35 pass game from Jalen Hurts to win this one. Maybe you could win this one with Jalen Hurts throwing maybe 20 times in the game. That would be amazing to me. Unfortunately, in today's modern NFL and the way we've seen Kellen Moore and even, yes, Nick Sirianni go about his business, they, of course, love to air it out. But if you're going to have games where Saquon Barkley is going to be running or getting his touches of 20, 25, 26 touches a game, whatever it might be, this would be the game to be betting on that. And this would be the game where Saquon Barkley looks to take this offense to the next level. Because one of the things I'm really going to be looking at in this game is focusing on something that was said going into the season from Howie Roseman. And it was when they signed Saquon Barkley. It wasn't signing a running back, remember? It's not signing a running back, it's signing a weapon. And this is the type of game when you don't have A.J. Brown, don't have Devontae Smith, where you're going to be looking at Saquon Barkley more so than ever in his brief career to this point as a Philadelphia Eagle as that weapon. This is a challenge whenever you don't have your number one guys, your number one targets for your quarterback. This is where you want to see your quarterback step up and say, don't have these guys, to hell with it, I'm still going to be great. Don't have your number one guys, Kellen Moore, I'm going to step up and I'm going to show you how we can scheme guys open that otherwise might not be able to get open in certain instances, which is why they're not number one guys yet in the NFL. Maybe that's why Paris Campbell flirts with and has been on the practice squad in this season. This is where those guys have to step up. Jahan Dotson, you've been here 3 weeks. Even before. Get on that same page with your quarterback. Every week we hear, they're taking a step forward. Being on the same page. Jahan Dotson's now essentially been elevated to your number one wide receiver. I'd love to see that chemistry. And Jahan Dotson was at his locker yesterday. They were talking to him about getting on the same page, and he feels more and more comfortable every single week. Well, now it's time to expedite that process to get on the same page. And again, the thing that's going to help everything, you want to look on the same page, have those linebackers bite, sit for a minute, going across the middle if you're Jahan Dotson, as they're looking in the backfield to see whether or not Saquon Barkley's getting that football. That's going to help really open up things for this Philadelphia Eagles offense. But when the ball goes in the direction of Jahan Dotson, Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, maybe Will Shipley lines up in the slot a time or two in this particular game. This is going to make they still got to catch football is what I'm saying. They're still going to have to go out there. They're going to have to reel it in. Even if they are schemed open, just catch the football. Just get the yards. When I look at a game like this, where you're facing a team that has not exactly lit the world on fire when it comes to their offensive output, hasn't exactly lit the world on fire with their defensive output, and certainly has not protected the quarterback. You think about doing the keep it simple, stupid kind of mentality. Hero ball will lose this game for the Eagles. If Jalen Hurts goes out there and says, all right, I don't have my number one guys, I got to do everything, then we're talking about turnovers. This is where Jalen, and I only heard him say this once, and this is one of the things I loved about Nick Foles, even before the Super Bowl. Nick Foles would always talk about the quarterback position being a point guard, whether it was with Doug Peterson or whether it was with Chip Kelly. Just go out there and be the point guard. Distribute. That's what he's got to do. Jalen Hurts, great point guard, isn't scoring 30, 35 points a game. I mean, some do. Don't get me wrong. But great point guards are setting everybody else up. They're getting 10, 15 points with 10, 15 assists, stuff like that. I need Jalen Hurts to have that type of mentality. Now, how's he supposed to trust the people around him? Well, he has to. It's as simple as that, because if he doesn't, that's where he gets himself into trouble. I'll say this. The one thing about the turnovers in the New Orleans game, not that there's anything positive from turnovers, But when you look at the way Jalen Hurts has turned over the football, it's been what? Through hero ball. The game against the Saints, his turnovers were not hero ball. His turnovers were bad reads. And even if he read that the safety was sitting there, that Tyrann Mathieu was sitting over the top, waiting for Devontae Smith, he's thinking Devontae Smith's going to make a play on this ball. Do I still think it was a somewhat ill-advised throw? Yeah, because also that's not Devontae's route. That's more of an A.J. Brown route, and we've talked about that before. The other turnover was on the fumble. He was rolling to his left. Ball security, knowing where the defense is at, feeling that pressure coming from behind you. You have to understand, protect that football. That's not him being wild and trying to make a ridiculous play. That's certainly not him against the Falcons or against the Packers, scrambling around behind the line of scrimmage, just knowing he can make a play in the middle of the end zone, intercepted. Like, that can't happen. That's hero ball. Those 2 interceptions there against the Saints, not hero ball. Just bad, they're mistakes. If he hopefully doesn't play that hero ball against the Buccaneers and he doesn't turn the football over in the process and he makes his good reads and he trusts his running back, and Kellen Moore is scheming guys open as well, just hit him. Don't got to do anything crazy. Look, as far as the pass rush goes, I said that there's something that makes me optimistic about what this Philadelphia Eagles team can do. Every member of the defensive line, every starter, I should say, of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive line is banged up. You might say at this point in the season, a lot of people are banged up, and that's true. But in particular, when it all starts in the trenches and guys are banged up, maybe they don't get that extra push that they normally would get, opening things up for a blitzing KJ Britt or whatever. When I look at it like this, you have Logan Hall, William Golston, Diabiaso, the edge rusher, he's out. Greg Gaines, he's not out, but he's dealing with a abdominal injury. And Greg Gaines is dealing with an ankle injury, and he was limited at practice yesterday. These are the guys that are going to be helping create that pressure that Todd Bowles wants to get on Jalen Hurts. And it's not like Jalen Hurts has never beaten Todd Bowles. Unfortunately, the only time we've seen him beat Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is during the regular season, and that was last year. And one of the things that's absolutely bananas about that game last year, it was one of the two. It was one of the two Eagles' 10-point victories of the season last year. As a matter of fact, it was other than the Miami Dolphins victory against that Vic Fangio defense, it was the biggest win of the season. It's not like Jalen Hurts can't do it. It's a matter of whether or not he could do it again, and without A.J. Brown, without Devontae Smith. That's what this is going to come down to. Other than the defensive line there of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and other than Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley doing their thing in this game, and really depending on Johnny Wilson and these guys stepping up, and Jahan Dotson showing us that he could. I mean, look, I want him to at least look like a number 2 wide receiver in this game. I'm not expecting him to be A.J. Brown. I'm not expecting him to be Devontae Smith. But look like a number 2 guy that's getting his number called. Next man up mentality. You're the next man up, Jahan Dotson. Do something in this game special. Dallas Goedert, same type of thing. Let me see what you could do in this game again. Is it going to be 187 yards? I doubt it. But I'd like to see it. But there's one more guy. And when I think about this Eagles defense going up against Baker Mayfield and this offense, I can't think of a better time. I can't think of a better time than Jalen Carter breaking out. To see him break out last week, that's a great thing. Now teams, if they weren't already doing it, which I'm sure they were to some degree, they're putting a little extra effort in that film room looking at what Jalen Carter is going to be doing. Because Jalen Carter turned a lot of heads last week. A matter of potential. Oh, it's got potential. This has got great potential. Well, to hell with potential once you do it. Once you reach that potential, you want to stay at that level and then just keep on getting better. And you're talking about a quarterback now in Baker Mayfield coming off a 7-sack game. Previous to that, I believe it was a 4-sack game. I think the biggest difference in this game, I got confidence in Saquon Barkley. And I know some people might think I'm crazy. I got confidence that Jalen Hurts isn't in this game in particular. It might sound crazy to you, but I got confidence he's not going to play that hero ball despite the injuries on the Eagles offense. I think the biggest difference maker in this game is going to be Jalen Carter. And I look at this game and I see a low-scoring game. I see a game where Saquon Barkley is the star of the show offensively. And I see another game where Jalen Carter goes out there and he eats. You have two defensive minds running the show when it comes to the defense. Vic Fangio, obviously, here with the Eagles, talking about a team that just took on a Saints team that was averaging 45.5 points going into it. Their matchup, home to 12. Okay, not bad. Now you're talking about Todd Bowles doing what he has done for the vast majority of the matchups there against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense. This will be a huge measuring stick for Jalen Hurts in terms of what he learned from last year to this year. He called Wink Martindale after week 18 against the Giants. And it was like, dude, what are you doing? I got Tampa coming up here. I might be things aren't going well for me against the blitz. You guys certainly have had my head spinning in years past. What can I do? It might be hard to commit not only to memory, but also change your game a little bit from week to week, from the last game of the regular season to the first round of the playoffs. You had a full off season. Now you got a new offensive coordinator. Here's your opportunity to go out there and show how much you've learned, how much you've improved, how much you can pick up now. One of the things that I am really curious about this game, and what really is amazing about this, is that Dallas Goedert is the one that called out Jalen Hurts at the end of the game against the Saints and said the big reception that he had in the fourth quarter, that was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts recognized what the defense was doing and called that play. So Jalen Hurts, pre-snap read, let's party. That's not something we've talked about a lot in the past. That's something we've certainly not talked a lot about in the past when it comes to taking on Todd Bowles. There's been enough instances of that. This would be a huge measuring stick game for Jalen Hurts and how much he's advanced mentally as a quarterback. And one of the things I love about Jalen is mindset, work ethic. I think he hits the books and all that. This is a game where he can prove that. And I think for a lot of people that doubt Jalen Hurts, this will be a good game for them, for those people to go, oh, look at that. Maybe he has learned something. Maybe he has gotten better. If he's picking up pre-snap blitzes, if he's understanding what the defense is doing before they do it, for a defense that disguises blitzes better than almost anybody, maybe the best now in the NFL at disguising blitzes, and certainly the success rate that they've had against Jalen Hurts, this would be a good game for Jalen to be like, oh, guess what? I've learned a thing or two since the last time we faced you people in the first round of the playoffs last year. Take that, Buccaneers. Take that, Todd Bowles. That's what I'd love to see. But Jalen Carter, for me, is the guy, to go back to him, to go back to Jalen Carter, he's the guy I'm going to be looking at this game that I think, when you talk about guys that you haven't seen it consistently enough from yet, this is a game where put two of these games together, that's back-to-back games. One more is a trend. And Jalen Carter was at his locker yesterday talking about a bunch of things. One, he rated his performance against the New Orleans Saints as trash. And just to remind you guys, Pro Football Focus rated him as the #1 interior defensive lineman in week 3. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Jalen Carter, though, said his performance was trash. Said he looked at the film and just said, I think he said it was all right. Well, I'll let you hear from him. Talks about Vic Fangio. Talks about what he sees from Baker Mayfield. Here's Jalen Carter yesterday at his locker.
It's a big opportunity, because what I see with the film, he's staying in the pocket a little bit longer than usually what other quarterbacks do. And he's holding the ball a little bit longer. Other quarterbacks usually get out like 2.6 seconds, and he's holding it a little bit longer, trying to scramble and extend plays. And I think that's a big opportunity for the D-line.
How good did you think you were last week after going back and watching it?
I think I was all right.
Just all right?
Yeah, all right. I'm never going to be the best. I'm never going to be good. I'm just going to keep working and get better every week.
Do you stand by your trash comment that you said post-game after watching film?
Oh, yeah.
Jalen, how do you think Vic Fangio has helped your game so far? I know it's only a few games in, but how do you think he's helped you?
I think he's helping a lot. Just when he first got here, starting off with, we need to do this more, do that more, or run more and stuff like that. I think that all helps with me and everybody else on the team. As a defense.
What's he like behind the scenes, Vic?
He's cool, calm. This morning I just walked in and, I kind of walked past him to go to my seat. He was like, "Hey, you gonna say good morning?" I was like, "Oh, my bad. Good morning." But he's very cool, calm, quiet, and he'll talk.
I'm still compiling a list of things that Vic Fangio does that reminds me of my own father. No, good morning. Oh, sorry. Good morning. You very rarely hear anyone talk about what the other quarterback's tendency is. And what Jalen Carter's talking about there is literally Baker Mayfield's tendency. Baker Mayfield's tendency holding the ball. This is what they say about Jalen Hurts sometimes. Holds on to the ball too long. Most guys are getting rid of the football 1.5, 2.5 seconds. He's holding on a little bit longer than that. That's going to give it. Like, imagine being an offensive lineman and be like, I got to block Jalen Carter for 3 seconds. Okay, right. After last week, the guy from last week, I got to do that? Okay. And they're going to double team me. Then maybe Jordan Davis gets that push. But last week was what we have been waiting for with this defensive line. And look, I know that you could easily look at the 7 sacks that the Buccaneers gave up last week. Easily look at it and be like, if the Broncos got 7, the Eagles will get 14. No, that's teams tend to correct those mistakes, overcorrect those mistakes in a lot of instances. But then there's also the teams that just can't figure it out throughout a season. And maybe that's the Buccaneers when it comes to how to protect their quarterback. But make no mistake about it, Jalen Carter is going to have that clock going off in his head. 1, 2, 2.5, 3. Get him! That's going to be ticking down in his mind as he's in his one-on-one battles or trying to break through double teams. And if that's not the case, you know who we really haven't seen this year? Josh Sweat. I'd love to see Brandon Graham get in that backfield again. I love how much Vic Fangio is challenging Brandon Graham. The Eagles signed I'm pretty sure the Eagles signed a guy, and they gave him like $53 million. What? And your wide receiver who's now on IR, or slot receiver in Britton Covey, and your quarterback have more tackles than the guy you signed. What was his name? I can't remember it. Puff? Was that the last name? I can't remember. That's escaping me. We haven't really even seen him. You check the box scores, I haven't on it. I can't remember. Price Puff, I believe was the guy's name. I think he played in New York. Well, technically New Jersey. But yeah, that's where. Yeah, so maybe something from him. Maybe something. I don't expect anything from him, but maybe something from him. All right. Everybody that's supposed to be catching footballs in this game, I was watching them. Johnny Wilson at his locker yesterday. Paris Campbell. I mean, Paris Campbell's a veteran. He gets an opportunity. Just catch football. That's it. Just catch football. Be a third down man if you have to be. So that's what I'm looking at for this game for your Philadelphia Eagles to hopefully improve to 3-1 on the season. I got a lot of respect for Baker Mayfield. I don't know if it's just because I don't like the Browns and what they did, but I got a lot of respect for him, and I'm just hoping the Eagles manhandle him the way he was manhandled by the Denver Broncos last week. So that's what I'm going to be crossing my fingers for. For this game, I look at the Philadelphia Eagles. I have a low-scoring game. Yesterday, I did a hit on CBS 3, and I was talking to Don Bell. Love Don. And Don was telling me he doesn't have a good feeling about this game. And I said, I don't have a great feeling about it, but I think the Eagles win I'm going to use a hockey term, a mucking and grinding type of game. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think the Eagles win this game. Here's what I'm around, and I'm going to land on this Sunday. But here's where I'm around. I'm around a 20-17 Philadelphia Eagles victory, a 24-17 Eagles victory, a 20-14 Eagles victory. That's where I'm at. But if Jalen Hurts has turnover issues in this game, they will not win this game. This can't be another game where they lose the turnover battle and win. I mean, this will be a game where if they lose the turnover battle, they lose the game. I don't think it's going to be opportunities aplenty. when it comes to this Eagles offense. And I haven't even talked about this yet. If this is a ugly game, turnovers, the two things that really concern me, just in general about this season. Turnovers is number one, because that's certainly carried over from last year. And Nick Sirianni's decision-making. Like, I thought him having less responsibility elsewhere would at least make him better at the one thing that I thought he had done well, really, throughout last year, and certainly hasn't done well this year, which is fourth down decisions. Like, feel of the game is real. I know analytics people, numbers people don't believe in it because they're like, well, you have a 10% chance of it being better if you do this. Okay, great. Have you watched the game? Do you understand that at halftime we have a chance to have at least tie the game, like score points? The points things you're supposed to get. Like, yards are nice, makes you feel good that you're having success moving the football, but it's not at the end of the game. It's 476 yards to 300, and you win. No, it's points. You have an opportunity at halftime, kick field goal, take 3 points, go into the locker room, come out with at least points, and the game tied at 3, and you don't do it. And then, first possession overtime, you're like, let's go for it again on 4th and 3. Oh, damn it, we didn't get it. All right, we're going to stop doing that. We're going to kick a 61-yard field goal. What are you doing? Nick Sirianni's decision-making, Jalen Hurts' turnovers. Correct those, and this team will win a Super Bowl. That's honestly how I feel. Correct those huge mistakes. I know it's not easy. Even if Jalen Hurts just has to think to himself, hey, I don't throw in the middle of the end zone while I've been scrambling around for 20 minutes back here. Because guess who's getting ready for that ball too, other than my receivers? The defense. Especially if it's on third down, you're in the red zone. No reason. Yeah, just take the easy points. Take the easy points. Third and long, red zone, take the easy points. So that's a decision that hopefully he can correct. And just overall decisions of third and fourth down and what Nick Sirianni is dialing up as far as going for it or not. And Kellen Moore, the same thing. And I know this week we talked a lot about who's calling the plays. I felt a lot more reassured after listening to Kellen Moore talk about it than I did any time that Nick Sirianni talked about it. Because I think every once in a while, Nick will be like, oh, I definitely want this. Oh, this play. Let's just do this. And he'll try to get ahead of it, I'm sure. But I got confidence in Kellen Moore making the right play call. I like the idea against the Falcons of going for it. We've talked about that many times already. Throwing it to Saquon there and trying to get the first down and win the game. That's the one play call you can really look back on and go, all right, maybe not great, but I still think it's a good play call. So as long as Nick Sirianni stays out of the way and when he has to get in the way on fourth down decisions, a feel for the game would be nice. One thing about the Thursday night football game. Giants lose to the Cowboys. I was rooting for the Giants last night just because I have more faith that the Cowboys will be in it at the end than the Giants, and the Giants falling apart later in the season is, well, falling apart. Staying apart is probably the way to say it. Than anything. But anyway, and plus, what do you do? Root for the Cowboys? What are we doing here? Micah Parsons in the fourth quarter of last night's game had to leave with an ankle injury. He got rolled up on by an offensive lineman when he was rushing the court, when he was rushing Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes. After the game, he said he's getting an MRI. He's supposed to get that MRI today, so we'll find out what's what there as far as Micah Parsons goes. He did say something after the game that I found somewhat interesting. It was like he wants nothing given to him. He wants to go out there and earn it. I was like, okay. This guy's got a chip in his shoulder. The Chauncey Gardner-Johnson stuff throughout the week was wildly entertaining. In case you missed it, earmuff it, kids. Chauncey called Micah Parsons a hoe. Going back and forth, Parsons talking about how Chauncey Gardner-Johnson didn't have respect for the Saints and Derek Carr and how good a quarterback Derek Carr was. This was what Micah Parsons' stance was. He was dying on Derek Carr Hill. Okay. And trying to say, like, no one knows Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has played in NFC Championship games. He's played in the Super Bowl. Who the hell is Derek Carr? And Micah Parsons wants to go through, is it Hurts or is it the scheme? Well, we sure as hell know it wasn't the scheme. Anyway, so that's Micah Parsons will get an MRI today to see whether or not he's going to miss any time with an ankle injury after one of the O-linemen there, the Giants, fell on his leg. And he was taken out of the game. That's the way that went last night. Phillies tonight. Look forward to the Phillies getting underway, ladies and gentlemen. Final series of the season. The Dodgers won last night, as I mentioned, to open the show. So now they're down to their final series of the season as well. They get underway. Here's what's good. We'll at least know earlier if the Dodgers win. They got 8-10 start times in games 1 and 2 against the Colorado Rockies. And then Sunday, they start at 3:10. As for your Philadelphia Phillies, look at their schedule. 3 games against Washington, 6:45, 4:05, 3:05. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we hope that the Phillies go out there and take care of business. The Dodgers need to lose 1 game. The Phillies need to sweep. I think it's going to come down, I think, to the Phillies having to sweep the Nationals in order to have a chance, I should say, at the number 1 seed. Remember, the Phillies have that tiebreak. But right now they go into these weekend series 1 game behind the Dodgers. So you at least need to draw even, and hopefully they'll do that. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Maybe you want to go down there to D.C. Maybe you want to go down to D.C. and see what's what. Well, if you do, download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARZI, and get $20 off your first purchase. And don't forget about the Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app. That allows you, this feature, toggle the feature, and it allows you to see the best seats at the best prices right out of the gate. So it filters out all that fluff. It's the most efficient way to buy the best seats at the best prices with the Game Time app when you toggle the Game Time Picks feature. Also, let's not forget about the amazing all-in pricing feature, so that when you download the app and you look at it and you toggle the all-in pricing, you know exactly what you're paying before you pay. So that way there's no, what is this wildly inconvenient convenience fee that made these $20 tickets $40? What? Not with the Game Time app. Also, last-minute ticket deals, flash ticket deals. They even have ticket deals for an hour after the event starts. So let's say you're not going to a game, you're going to a concert or a comedy show. You don't care about the opening act or the middle. You just want to see that headliner that you love so much. You download the Game Time app, and here's what you do. You take advantage of the last-minute ticket deals, and an hour after the event starts, you'll get the best savings possible with the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARZI, and get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Well, what time is it? Game time. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's phlsportsnation.com. Before I get to the chat check, I wanted to hit this time. I think I said 4, 5. The Denver Broncos sacked Baker Mayfield 7 times. The Detroit Lions in the previous game sacked him 5 times. So that's pretty wild. 13 sacks in total in the first 3 games of the season. That seems like a lot. All right. Let's get into the chat check and see how you people are doing on this fine, fine morning. Hello. Hello. April. Hello. Good morning, Farz. This is Wine Niners Wine. Jason A., good morning. T-Bro, happy Football Friday. Hey! Shooter! Nick Siri Diddy? Good Lord. Too soon? Jason, honestly, I think Barkley is borderline MVP of the league at the moment. Hell yeah, man. Sean Coney, good morning. James Alexander, hello. Gatekeeper Coley BS. Hurt said he's a point guard that spreads the ball around a little and then goes ISO. That happens. Mob Deep. Hello. Farzi isn't hero ball. The way he's been coached with all the quarterback runs and the installment of RPO. What? It's the way he's been coached? Sean Gillespie, hello. Good morning. Shooter, only certainties, death, taxes, and Siri Diddy prancing around the sideline like he's a player. James Alexander. That honestly doesn't bother me. I know it bothers some other people. It doesn't bother me. James Alexander, hello. Oh, wait. What are my thoughts on what? What are your thoughts on Major talking about bringing – oh, the mayor, not Major. Sorry, read that too quick. The mayor talking about bringing a WNBA franchise to the city. It's embarrassing that Philadelphia doesn't have a WNBA franchise in the city. Don't talk about Baker till after the game, Jalen. Farzi, Sweat is actually number 3 in the league in pressure percentage, believe it or not. Yeah, how about closing the deal? Huff Puff, that's funny. Hufflepuff, oh, okay. Terry Hayes, what's up? What's up? 2 Hunnits. Okay. Nick and Jalen have to be better for sure. Look at us. Look at us. Corey Littles, we take the easy points, then you guys say, why can't we get in the end zone? Well, see, here's the thing. I wouldn't say that against the Saints because the game just had that feel to it. Just take the points, baby. Every other time, I'm pretty good with it. I don't mind it. I don't mind the aggressiveness. But in that particular situation, take the points. April calling someone a ho-ho is a solid comeback. Absolutely. Oh, you're very kind, T-Bro. Thank you. I'm nobody's hero. No. Old school Diddy isn't. All right. I don't really want to go anywhere near the Diddy stuff because I don't want the pictures to come out and me at the parties. You know what I mean? Oh, that was going on. I was just having some punch. Anyway, thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome as per usual. I got to get over to Fox 29. Bonus me today on Fox 29. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. You guys are fantastic as per usual. My name is Mark Farzan. I'll be back with you guys tonight on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia postcast for Phillies and Nationals. Hopefully the Phillies go out there and deal tonight. Thanks, everyone. Catch you guys tonight on the postcast, and then Monday, hopefully after an Eagles victory, and also from Parks Casino with Seth Joyner and Derek Gunn. I think we started 11:45, 11:30 postgame, or excuse me, 11:30 pregame from Parks Casino on Sunday. See you guys then. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Be safe. Bye.